Part 1 of the voiceover, take 4. My name is Magdalene de Jesus. I'm a film student, I'm a water activist, and I believe that everybody deserves and has the right to healthy and safe drinking water. All of the water that is on this earth is all of the water that will ever be on this earth. Earth's surface is made up of 71% water. The human body is made up of over 70% water. Water is life. It is a necessity for every living being on this planet. Water is our everything, and it should not be a luxury. It should not be contaminated with toxicity. Water should not be poison for some and a life force for others. And since water is our everything, we must protect it to save each other.
Mm-hmm. And the goal is I'll have compostable cups, of
cute.
course.
Right.
And sorry, peeps. When talking about environment, you talk about sustainability. And in order to have true sustainability, you have to have it economically, socially, and environmentally. And unfortunately, at some point, one of those three is not meeting the rest. And for specific groups, they don't have access to clean water, and they also don't have the means to, care about environmental issues because they need to worry about, their own social shortcomings or the financial situation or a list of so many other things that are far more important to that group of people than taking care of the environment. So trying to fight for social justice is also fighting for environmental justice. And we want all parties to feel supported.
In the 1990s, primarily the American Bar Association started looking at cases where people were not on an equal playing field as far as environmental resources. But looking at the statistics around the state and who uses what water, who has the most pollution, they found that by far, minority neighborhoods, less affluent neighborhoods tended to live in more polluted areas. So there's really a wide range of different things. But I would say it all tends to come to water supply, water quality, and then kind of on top of everything would be climate change. It's really, most people don't understand what goes on behind their faucet.
Lead as a plumbing material was really kind of the plumbing industry standard pre-1951. And so it was widely used throughout plumbing jobs all over, not just here in Denver, but across the United States.
Here, I'll casually pick up the book and you can just cut to us talking about this book. There's chemicals called PFOS, PFOS, and PFOA, and those chemicals are terrifying because they're bioaccumulative and are almost impossible to break down. So something I found in here that I thought was interesting was that it was in 2019 that they finally began the process to list PFOAs and PFOS as hazardous. But they knew that these were hazardous in 1990. Yeah, so this goes over the hardness, the chlorine, iron, copper, lead, nitrate, nitrite, NPS, chlorine, fluoride, acid, more chloride, bromine, alkalinity, carbonate, and pH. So it kind of goes through.
And what's the pH for most of them?
Let's go over. So, yeah.
7.2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not too bad.
No.
6 is going a little low into the acidic side.
Yeah. So that's technically below
normal.
Yeah. And that was Denver Tap.
Interesting.
So I think advocacy starts with education. So to get people wanting to advocate for something, they need to be educated on the topic. And
Yeah.
I got into water advocacy once I started researching what's going on with our water
Yeah.
and why water's so valuable and why we need to protect it. And then I was like, oh wow, I want to protect it. Let's advocate for it.
And we have an update on a number of stories tonight. A Colorado man who set himself on fire outside the Supreme Court building Friday has died. Police say 50-year-old Wynn Bruce succumbed to his injuries. Bruce set himself on fire on the plaza of the Supreme Court building around 6:30 Friday night.
Yeah, and it was in protest of climate change
And did it on Earth Day.
on Earth Day, and no one has been talking about it. So I'm just like,
Yeah. If anything, they're making him seem like he was just crazy.
yeah. And I
For no
mean,
reason.
it is kind of crazy. Don't get me wrong. That's
Yeah.
like, that's some serious business right there. But it's like, it should get people talking.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just, it's hard for me to even like fully process the situation.
Yeah.
And it's definitely scary. And I know I'm not alone in that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope people recognize the severity and the urgency of this issue.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, obviously the people who are passionate about it know what's up and are doing everything that they can to fight it, but we need to get more people to be passionate about
Yeah.
it.
I think people just don't want to feel guilty.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to recognize the problem because that would mean that they would have to hold themselves accountable. And
And people don't want to change.
yeah.
People are so comfortable with their current standard of living, and to be more sustainable, like things would have to change.
Yeah.
But it's like, why not? If you know it's going to make you feel better, it's going to make the planet feel better, it's going to make everything better, why not?
Because it's hard to change.
Step by step, little by little. I think people are finally starting to recognize their faults. I just hope that we can fix it in time.
You bring up an interesting point because what you just said is directly tied into indigenous knowledge. And so here in the West and in America, when we're trying to tackle a problem, a scientific problem, a health problem, whatever problem, we always try to focus on the specific issue. So you mentioned plastic. So plastic is an issue. So people are like, we need to reduce plastic. But what indigenous knowledge encourages and promotes is to dissect every aspect of what is going on. People need to focus more on the root rather than the symptom of the problem.
It goes without saying, the wealthy get the best of the best always, and that's, you know, a huge problem, especially when we look at things like water, because water is not a renewable resource, and we are very quickly running out of water, especially clean water. But people who are going to get first dibs on water is going to be the wealthy, and you're going to see a lot of people suffer, and you're already seeing that happening right now, even in Denver, where, like I was saying, we for the most part have pretty good water and water access, all things considered, compared to the rest of the world. But even then, like, there are still so many communities who aren't getting access to water, especially clean water. Don't take water for granted. Understand that it is a limited resource, and there's a whole lot of people on this planet that need it.
Environmental justice is a movement that involves everybody's participation. We are all deserving of water because we are all made up of water. Water is natural and pure, designed for life. Water is anything but exclusive, at least it shouldn't be. This is a call to action to respect, protect, and honor our water. In doing so, we become stewards to each other.